So again, our focus revolves back on the Hull House. Jane Addams made her settlement house work with schools as laboratories almost of social experimentation. In 1895, Jane Addams published the Hull House Maps and Papers. This was the first quote-unquote scientific survey of immigrants in a city. She used statistics and first-hand observations to identify problems victimizing immigrants in politics, crime, and prostitution. Jane Addams also cataloged information about the deteriorating immigrant families and the pitiful housing and dangerous working conditions. Adams worked with Chicago city leaders to establish city commissions, formed of professionals charged with the task of finding ideas to revamp city life. And so the spread of these ideas was the key to the spread of progressivism. National societies sprang into existence, and these societies so these national societies sprang into existence to help professionals share ideas, including economists, sociologists, political scientists, and even leaders of charitable foundations. Each national society published a journal, the goals of which were to expose, identify, and correct problems as perceived by each field. Freelance writers and photographers joined forces with these societies to push for these progressive reforms. Historians like Charles A. Beard, I think we've talked about him previously with the economic interpretation of the Constitution. He began publishing a new perspective on the dearth of democracy in America, pointed to Jim Crow and the death of the democracy in America, pointed to Jim Crow and boss politics. Government at the municipal level implemented new ideas more like businesses than politicians. The tactics of trust were used to reform the city through collective efforts of unambitious, honest public officials. Progressivism would have spread much more slowly without the work of what Theodore Roosevelt first referred to as the muckrakers. Roosevelt disliked their tendency to dig up the problems of America rather than writing about our greatness. That is until he himself became a progressive. The famous muckraking photographer included Lewis Hine and Jacob Riis, whose "How the Other Half Live," which Theodore Roosevelt actually went on patrols with Jacob Riis when he was a New York City police chief. But the other how the other half lived shocked the middle class and upper middle class Victorian sensibilities with its images from the lives of the immigrant poor, the tenement housing, and created a stir similar to the impact of Matthew Brady's Civil War photographs of dead soldiers. So if you ever look at like the battlegrounds of Antietam or Gettysburg, if most of those photographs of the dead soldiers were by a guy named Matthew Brady, and it just shocked the American public. Same thing for Jacob Riis. Muckraking writers included Lincoln Steffens, who wrote The Shame of Our Cities, Ida Tarbell, who wrote a History of Standard Oil. Let's see here. What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, Upton Sinclair, who wrote The Jungle, exposing the failings of the meatpacking industry. Um, and so, these evils that were exposed, included just a variety of different things. So you could also see muckraking articles about sweatshops, about white slave traffic. This is like prostitution with runaway girls, insurance company scandals, the gap between American ideas and the ugly realities of the Gilded Age. And while these ideal articles were filled with romanticism, sentimentalism, they were written in a tone of complete objectivity. And this was designed to inflame the consciousness of the readers and to create a moral outcry where the people would push and demand for reform. When the readers felt that the outrage was their own, the publicity of this type of journalism would spur America to action. And once again, in the next series of videos, we will look at that action being taking place at the state and national level.